Look at that. Your boy made it. I don't know if you guys can see that strong glare. Let me get you guys a good angle. Jeff is just admiring.
You gotta point that out right there.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I'm in the middle, Jeff. I'm in the middle.
Right there.
Keep your legs tight. Guest star, Jeffrey Alberts, NPC competitor.
Yeah.
NPC competitor.
What does that mean?
Jeff Alberts. Not Natty. Hi there, brother.
This is for Jose. This is how we started out. Start the workout with the Brazil shirt and the one. What is this? 150.
It's 150. Over there, it's only like 60.
Since the 80s been a top notch, whatever you like. Pumping iron for my abs and my.
Okay, guys, welcome back. And I think by now you could tell that it was me who did all the editing for this particular video. And rather than show you guys what I typically do on a workout week, the whole summary, highlights, all that, wanted to share with you guys basically what Jeff and I have going on, and we're working out. We're having a back day together, and the main reason we decided to do this is because the contest season is coming up soon here, and we're both very excited to get back up on stage. And I think that in itself is really cool, because I've been doing this for a while, and Jeff has been doing this for a long time now, much longer than me, since the 80s, been a top notch, or whatever you like, pumping iron. So we are getting together basically to put the finishing touches on a muscle group that we both believe we can use a little help on. When it comes to competitive natural bodybuilding, it's really that posterior chain that can separate you from the rest of the crowd, and even more so now, where the bare minimum conditioning in natural bodybuilding is just freaking absurd. You better have something to show when you peel all that stuff off. And Jeff, his last off season, he just made he did a complete 180 when it comes to his back development, and that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to mimic that spurt that he had when it comes to progress, and he's trying to pile more on top of that last spurt. So we decided, hey, let's get together, and you know what? For me, it's actually really cool, because I really think that Jeff Alberts is right up there with the top 5 lightweight pro natural bodybuilders in the world, and I have access to dude. He's right there. Basically, my goal is right there. I can look at Jeff, and that's where I want to go. So that's really cool that I have that accessible to me. And then also, again, we're just kind of trading tips here and there. And one thing that we worked on today was the way I hold the dumbbell. As you can see, I'm holding it the way he does, where it's kind of tilted. And one thing that this really does for me is, first of all, it really helps me not take elbow flexion out, because elbow flexion, yeah, it's going to happen. But more so, what it does for me is that it keeps me from getting trigger happy when it comes to how much my arms do, and I think that's an issue for most bodybuilders. And then secondly, what it does for me is that it keeps me from going past the midline, and I know this is something that a lot of us are aware of when it comes to bench pressing, but not so much when it comes to rowing. So first of all, as a bodybuilder, by going past that midline, one thing you're going to do is the movement is not going to, you're not getting any more out of it, and quite often it can mean a lot of other things are just wrong with the way you're rowing, and then also it's just not very healthy for the humeral head. That's just really, you're basically popping it out of the socket. So yeah, that's the thing about back workouts, back exercises, is that I think the longer you do this, the more you develop the mind-muscle connection. And I really hate that word, because it makes it sound like we're psychics. Like, all my rows were for Jeff, and Jeff was rowing for me, and that's how we do it. I think the mind-muscle connection, more than anything, has to do with just using good form, and not just knowing what good form is, but being able to properly execute it. Two very different things. There's a lot of folks out there that know what textbook form is, but they can't execute it because, again, applying it, that's the hard part. It's very easy to talk the talk, but walking the walk can be hard. And I know this is hard for me. I know what textbook form looks like on a few things, but I'm still prone to faltering when it comes to just little things like for example, the whole rowing past the midline. That's a bad habit that I have. And again, it's something that the longer you do this, the better you get at, and you start to develop these little cues that really help you in your personal situation. One thing I would recommend, and this was our second movie, so we started with dumbbell rows, and then we went to neutral grip pull downs. Totally forgot how awesome this handle was. But one thing I would recommend that most people who are having issues with their rowing, try holding it at the end position for about a 2 count. I still kind of do this because, unlike Jeff, I am very prone to getting a little cheaty with my rows, and this really helps me, prevents me from doing that. If you can't hold it at that ending position, at that bottom position in this movement for about a 2 count, then chances are you used a host of other muscle groups to get it there. So it's a good way to just kind of check yourself to make sure that it is indeed your back muscles that are moving the weight. But yeah, just little tips like that, I think have really helped me immensely when it comes to bringing up my back this year, which I do think it's made some strides. Unfortunately, that's where I hold most of my fat, so we won't be able to see all these little changes until I'm about 4 to 5 pounds out, I think. After this, we went to some really awesome machine, but the lighting was kind of crappy, as you can see. So you're just gonna have to deal with what looks like we're working out in a sauna, basically. Chest supported rowing, which I've mentioned many times, I'm a big fan of because I need my torso for other days, for my deadlifting, for my squats. So this is a good way to just keep my lower back fresh so that I can feel less overlap when it comes time to hit up those big movements. And yeah, I think if you are deadlifting or doing a partial deadlift, you could probably, if it's part of your program, you can probably get away with doing the majority of your rowing chest supported. And as a matter of fact, I almost think you exclusively should do it that way. So food for thought for those of you out there that deadlift and squat and use those as your prime movers on lower body day. Excellent machine, and as you can see here, I'm doing a great job of just staying right where I need to be. I don't go past that midline. This is a freaking awesome handle. Feels like a chest supported dumbbell row where as the weight gets away from you, arms are closer, and as you bring it back, it really works with the way your scapulas retract. So I love that machine. Sometimes the dumbbell rows can't be very practical. I discovered that last machine a few days ago and I fell in love with it right away, but chances are I'm going to outgrow it really soon once I get better at that movement. After this, we finished off our vertical pulling with some moto rows. So these you've seen before in some of my videos. And again, if you have stubborn lats, it's a good way to find them. It's really hard to not find them for most folks on this movement. So again, if you're having issues, especially when it comes to a vertical pull, this is a great way to get to know your lats. And it's a great finisher, I think. I love using this as one of my last movements before I'm off to do arms or whatever it is afterwards. And again, very simple movement, easy to learn.
Since the 80s, been a top notch, whatever you like. Pumping iron for my abs and my.
I can see that, Jeff. I totally can. I can totally see what you're talking about there, dude. Yeah, no, great movement in that it's a great lats for dummies exercise, but then also for me it really again, that thing that I was talking about earlier, I tend to row too far back, or have in the past anyways, and it's really hard to do that with this movement. So great movement, great finisher, and that was basically our back day. So might seem too basic, too simple, but I think sometimes people tend to, everyone usually thinks that their solution to their whatever their problems are in bodybuilding and other things too, but in bodybuilding, that they're a little bit more, that the remedy and the cure is a little bit more complicated than it really is. So yeah, but, I guess back to basics for most folks is basically what I'm saying here, and yeah, that's basically what we do. We try to not only get stronger, add a weight to the movements, but then also clean up and better our form. So I think as weight goes up, part of the reason should be because you've cleaned up your technique, not the other way around, where weight goes up and form goes to crap. So yeah, we kind of we're on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to the way we train. I tend to be more of a volume junkie, and then Jeff is kind of he kind of hangs out in the what most people would call low volume. And this is kind of good for both of us because, again, Jeff, can sometimes, he probably needs me to have him overreach a little bit more than he will sometimes. And in my case, I tend to overreach maybe a bit more than I should, to tell you the truth. I tend to bite off a bit more than I can chew. So good way to keep us, I think, where we both kind of sort of need to be. And then also, it's just that whole motivational factor, and I think it's really going to help us put those final touches on our back musculature. And then also, once we prep, it's a great way to just make sure we keep whatever we did earn during the off season. So a lot of fun, and we were able to make this work despite the fact that there is slight differences with the way we train. After this, we got into some arm action, and arms and back. That's basically, those two are my nemesis, and that's one thing that I'm really looking to just make a final dash for. So call it procrastination, but I guess the beginning, most of this offseason, early on, I was really focused on just my posterior chain and my back, and I know that arms, in the grand scheme, they're a smaller problem. Arms are great, arms look cool, they add to your symmetry, but they don't necessarily win shows, whereas a back, a nice, fully developed posterior chain can win you a show. So that's kind of why I operated in that order. Jeff doing curls, and a lot of people say that if your biceps are fried by the time you get to curls, and chances are you're using too much on movements. I can guarantee you we both are not doing that. There's elbow flexion when you row, so your biceps are going to be a bit tired, which is basically the excuse I'm making for the weight you see on the bar. But again, no swinging, might not be very impressive weight, but we're targeting our biceps and not our lower backs or anterior delts.
No. It's about right. It took you 4 seconds to figure that out.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to film this way, right?
Yeah, that way. The kids love that.
Oh, this way?
Yeah, like that, dude.
That way, right? Yeah, that's the way you guys like it, right? Not natty. That's the way you like it.
I would say do it that way, but then my head looks even longer. So.
And yeah, frontal lobes. Look at that. With a forehead like that, chances are I don't lack frontal lobes. So hopefully the judges write that in my next scorecard. So yeah, really simple day. 3 sets of 6 to 8 with the barbell curls. Not very impressive weight, but I think our form is pretty good, which again goes back to that whole back to basics thing. I think most folks tend to overcomplicate their situations, and they look for the most exotic, complicated way to fix them, when in reality I think the majority of people, basketball analogy here, you just need to learn to dribble with their left hand. It's those basic things that if you don't have those taken care of, if your form ain't right, then I don't care how freaking awesome your squat program is, you are not going to again, over the long term, make the progress you are looking for. So Yeah, it's funny how, you know, two guys have been doing this for a while. We're using a very basic format.
Since the 80s, been a top notch, whatever you like. Pumping iron for my abs.
We understand, Jeff. You've been doing this for a while. Yes. So yeah, that's basically my point. My point is that I think a lot of the young guys out there who are just starting out, they want the most complicated, exotic solution to their problem, when in reality, most of the time, it's just most people need to go back and just redo the basic things. So yeah, that was basically our mandate together, our Friday evening mandate. A little back, a little biceps. Looking forward to getting more of these videos on here over the course of the next few weeks. And again, once we start the contest prep season, I think that's definitely something we want to share with you guys, is the fact that again, you know, a lot of this stuff is just about being sound in your fundamentals, and then just being very freaking consistent over the course of a long time, which that's where most of these extreme results are found, which most people don't necessarily like the answer to that, but that's how work gets done. And we look forward to sharing with you not just these workouts, but our contest prep season once we get rolling on those diets, which I think for Jeff is going to be sometime in October. So thank you guys, and thank you if you made it this far.